I'm John D. Riley, researcher with Zero Point Research. Today is Thursday, August 5th, around 5 p.m. Pacific time. And I'm here to discuss the current solar events that are actually in progress that is actually happening in our solar system as we speak. Over the last 48 hours, we have seen a tremendous amount of solar activity, the events that have far surpassed anything that we have experienced in the last several decades on this planet. What we are able to see now is we're seeing an accumulation of 3 coronal mass ejections that have burst simultaneously and are heading towards Earth. If you've been noticing the monitoring situations, the sun is actually peppered with different solar spots in different regions on the planets, or on the surface of the sun. And what happened is that they all seem to have went off in sequence while they were facing our planet. And what does this mean for us? Well, we've actually looking at the classes of them as high as M6, which is actually in the X-ray class fields. That means the spectrum, when we look at the ratings, or we look at what is an X-ray class flare, that is the entire spectrum of the photonic emissions are being emitted from the sun at the same time, simultaneously. So when we look at radio frequencies, they monitor from 245 megahertz all the way up to 15,000 hertz in regards to the broad spectrum. And radio frequencies determine the emissions that are coming from the sun. So when we register at their highest, then we know we're getting a broad spectrum. There's also different levels of monitoring systems on the current satellites that are around the sun and around the Earth. And this is something that I will show you later at the end of this video. But what's important is to understand is that there's a volley that is heading towards this planet that will hit in several hours. It's actually been hard to estimate because actually the last coronal mass ejection that went off yesterday has nearly overtaken the ones that are on its way here to the planet. Many of us have been feeling these shifts within our dream states, within our physical body. A lot of people have been reporting to me about palpitations, very unusual symptoms within feeling their heart, like almost stopping, or feeling rushes of energy, or tunnel vision, or being taken out of perspective. This is all aspects of what happens within the physical conscious condition within our journey here, and trying to connect these dots and understand what is truly happening. What's more important is to realize is that they're primary events, and many of you out there that are receiving these messages realize that you're solar consciously aware that we are affected by the event simultaneously as it is happening on the sun. A lot of us we're having a hard time connecting this realization, but now there are many of us that are all coming together, noticing that we are all what we call solar consciously connected. The event's happening immediately 93 million miles away when the events are happening on the sun. Science has already proven that there is a wormhole or a bridge of instantaneous reaction. When the sun emits an energy reaction, the Earth is immediately affected, and so is many of the people on the planet. Sometimes we can see this where if you're consciously connected to it, we can gather ourselves right away. If we're not consciously connected to it, we can react to that. And that's why we can see an uprising in regards to events, situations, accidents, from high levels of outlashing that happens within people's physical journeys, confrontations, even political, even fluctuations within the stock market. All can be affected by these energies. And this is one of the things for us to realize. But the coming times now, what is going to happen within the next 24 to 48 hours? We are going to be hit with a solar stream unlike anything that has been measured to my knowing. I think this actually goes back even 100 years in regards to the force of the actual wave. All the monitoring systems saying that the magnetosphere, or the force around our planet, is actually going to be drastically affected by this. Now, what does this mean? Yes, we will see changes that are going to happen. Our weather system is going to turn on the dime when these events start to hit the ionosphere. We're going to see fluctuations within, when we look at the electron field, it is completely, nearly doubled in regards to its normal levels of emission. So the electron movement and the way that we actually understand the electron itself is going through a shift. The protons, and when we understand X-rays, when they bombard us at such a high cellular level. And when we understand what happens within the core, within the planet, and the energy that is released when X-rays are introduced to the Earth environment. I want to try to make this as simple as possible and just prepare everyone, because this is all about consciousness and what we choose to do in these coming times. And more than ever, it's about being at your highest, come into your highest of vibration, visualize the highest level of outcomes to everyone that you know, every animal that you see, everything of how you see it in its highest, really acknowledge it for the beauty that we have this opportunity to be in, because this spectrum of how we see the world is about to drastically shift. And this is the hardest thing for people to, for me to convey, is what is about ready to shift in our perspective, in the way that we see within this photonic spectrum, where we see the very minor bandwidth of the rainbow, and all of this within the measurable bandwidth, we only see this much. So we have to realize that if our conscious perspective of the way we see now, we will start to see many events within our mind's eye that will actually be there but not be there at the same time. There will be movements, there will be fragments of images. Now this is what we call piercing the veil, or the thinning of the veil within the conscious realization. This is where we start to connect the dots and understand what we are truly physically capable of within our body, minds, and spirit. So this is a very important time that is going to happen on this planet, and we are in the 2012 events that have been foretold for thousands of years. This is the time where planet Earth and our solar system is aligning to the galactic center. And what is happening there is we are being reintroduced with energies that have not been on this planet for thousands of years. It's almost like a cell phone. When you keep it in range, it works perfectly. You take it out of range, it no longer functions. And we forget, after 100 years, you forget what the cell phone was at all, until you start to bring it back into range of the transmitters, then it starts to function again. So we'll have a bigger grasp on the understanding of how things are built that are still a mystery to us. And they have been removed. Our science cannot figure out how certain artifacts or pyramids were actually built on these planets. And it definitely, when we understand that what the physical capabilities are, but then when we understand the levels of energy, taking it to the whole other aspect of realization, it's hard for us to understand until we are introduced with the energy fields. And this is where everything changes. It happens almost instantaneously within our consciousness, like we knew it, but it was put away where we could not grasp it until now. So this is where it's getting really beautiful. So, but if I can exchange anything for all of you, is to breathe deeply, be at your highest, practice loving kindness at your highest. This is the most important time of this time on this planet, and it's a great time indeed. So when we breathe deep, and through this, and really stay and focus in our highest, and it's simple, when we can open up that doorway to compassion within ourselves. But keep that in your mind, and if things get difficult, remember those words: is to practice loving kindness. I was recently in India, before the 19th Siddha of Mahadeva Malai. Absolutely an amazing experience when you meet someone who has transmuted the body, who no longer eats food or drinks water, and he receives his prana from fire. He lays within a fire every morning, and that's how he receives his prana. And he hasn't eaten food or drank water for nearly 9 years. And he was just like you and I. And his profound message is that I am not a master, I am not a teacher. I am only here to remind you of what you are, what you're capable of, or what you might have forgotten. So this is where it's really amazing on this planet, and it is time to remember. There is a message that I have left on my YouTube page about the message. It is very simple, and when we start to open that door within our realizations that everything is about to change on this planet, but it is up to us within our consciousness, within our reality of what we choose for it to be. because we have to understand there's multiple timelines that can be chosen in this. And if you stay in your highest now, we will have the highest output, the highest outcome that will come forth on this planet. Yes, things are going to change. You know, we're going to have awakenings on many levels, some very profound, but some very rude, but an awakening nonetheless. And this is the most important message. Again, breathe deep, understand, and welcome the coming times. Welcome this energy as it comes. More to come.